Well, the embargo is the White House's latest attempt to topple the Cuban government, with 6 decades of restrictions and military action producing no tangible results. RT correspondent Donald Courter is in the country and breaks down Washington's botched operations there.
Negotiations between Cuba and the United States continue to drag on as Donald Trump tries to strangle the socialist island nation's economy by intensifying Washington's decades-old embargo on the country. Media reports are also suggesting that the White House is trying to get the Cuban president out of power in a similar way to what we saw in Venezuela with Nicolas Maduro. Havana, however, is having none of it.
We have reaffirmed the resolve and commitment of the Cuban people in defending the revolution and our homeland's sovereignty. And let the United States government listen carefully. The blockade will not break Cuba.
With Trump claiming he wants the honor of taking Cuba, the possibility of U.S. military action against the island is a very real threat. The U.S. says that the government here is on the verge of collapse, that it's only a matter of time. But this isn't the first time that an overconfident commander-in-chief thought he might be able to take the island. And last time, it ended in complete disaster. In 1961, the CIA launched a botched operation to invade Cuba, known around the world as the Bay of Pigs invasion, and the Cubans know it by the name of a nearby village called Playa Girón. To this day, that village has a museum dedicated to preserving the memory of Cuba's victory over their imperialist next-door neighbor.
The victory at Playa Girón was a historic event that undoubtedly marked the determination of the Cuban people under the leadership of Commander Fidel Castro Ruz regarding the sovereignty, self-determination, and the principles of our nation. At Girón, socialism was defended. With Girón, the Cuban people demonstrated the value of what it means for a people to be free without the interference of a foreign power, especially considering that the mercenaries were Cuban men paid by a foreign power. They began that occupation on April 17th, and it ended with a great victory on April 19th. This revealed the eagerness of the United States government to once again defeat the Cuban Revolution, to defeat its leader Fidel Castro, and to turn Cuba into another colony of the United States.
Around 1,400 Cuban émigrés, many of them former officers of the pre-revolutionary military dictatorship, were sent to Guatemala to be trained for this operation. The CIA also armed anti-government terrorist groups on the island to the extent that Fidel Castro said probably around 80% of the U.S. embassy was engaged in espionage.